It's Bells. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. We're gonna be doing book recommendations based off of Christmas emojis, but I have to warn you ahead of time. It's the least Christmassy Christmas book recommendation list you're gonna get. It's kind of a wild ride, and I hope you have fun with it as much as I did making it. If you're looking for maybe more cozy winter book recommendations that are kind of specific to the winter season, go check out my cozy winter books video. I'll put a link to it up here and in the description below that you can go and check out if you're looking for something that's a little bit more cohesive. I would love if you commented some more Christmassy books so that next year when I do something like this, it's a little more Christmassy. My bad. Happy holidays, and let's bring on the books. Okie dokie, so our first emoji is the Christmas tree emoji. For that emoji, we're really starting this off with like the least Christmassy, fun, wholesome book that I have on this list. We're gonna start with Imaginary Friend by Stephen Chbosky. Basically, this mom escapes from an abusive relationship with this little boy. They go to a small town, and Christopher goes missing for a week. When he comes back, all he knows and all he remembers is that he has to build a tree house in the middle of the woods by Christmas time, or everyone in the town will die. So there's our Christmas there. It's technically Christmas related. It's incredibly well written. Screams Stephen King inspired. If you like that kind of writing, you'll really like this one. I picked this for the Christmas tree because it's about the forest and building a tree house by Christmas time. That's it. That's why I picked it. Also, it's a book that you should read, and so I put it at the top of this list because you should read this book. By the end of it, we're following like 15 different people, and it's crazy how he manages to keep all of them cohesive and on track. I think it's a marvel of writing. You can definitely tell that this book took 9 years to write. It's great and super spooky. Very fun if you're looking for a horror book for this Christmas time. Here you go. I got it for you. Okay, we'll move on to something less like that. So the next ones we're gonna do are Milk and Cookies. And I picked separate ones for this. So for Milk, I picked Milk Fed by Melissa Broder for obvious reasons. So Milk Fed basically follows Rachel, who has a pretty bad eating disorder. So if that's something that will trigger you, don't read this book. It's super in-depth into that. And Rachel ends up falling for Miriam, who is a young Orthodox Jewish woman who basically is intent on like feeding Rachel. She helps Rachel kind of fall back in love with her body and with who she is. The relationship isn't the best, but it's super sexy and inclusive and diverse and fun. We get a lot of conversations about like, dysfunctional family relationships, obviously eating disorders, therapy. Melissa Broder uses the sexuality of these two characters to kind of further her story, which I think is a really interesting choice. I put it on this list because I think it's incredibly well written and harbors a really important message in there. It is like a really genuinely fun story. And then for Cookies, I picked Coraline by Neil Gaiman. This book, if you don't know or haven't seen the movie, is about this young girl, Coraline. Their family moves to a new home, and she is super bored and explores the house and finds a door with bricks behind it. And later on, she is led back to the door and it's open. She wanders through and she's in a parallel universe where everything is the same except better. So better food, better neighbors, better parents, a whole 9 yards. But the parents are trying to keep her there, basically steal her soul to kind of like keep her with the other children's souls that they've already stolen. And so Coraline's kind of the only person who can save them. I believe it is Neil Gaiman's first novel for children, but like, if you've seen the movie, it's freaking creepy. I picked it for Cookies because a huge part of this is like the food that Coraline eats in the other place on the other side. She eats like a lot better food, more sweets, more sugar, food that her parents won't necessarily give her in the real world. The next one we have is the little present emoji. For that book, I've picked The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. I picked it for the present because the whole premise of the book is that Addie makes a deal with the devil, kind of, to stay alive for however long she wants. But the trade-off is that she winds up getting forgotten by everyone she ever meets. And so I picked it for the present because it is technically a gift given to her by the devil. Demon creature. I know it's a bit of a stretch, but I think it's a really fun book. It's a really great romance. It's super magical and whimsical and fun. It is actually in my like cozy cold books for a white winter video that I mentioned earlier, because I do just think it's such a magical, atmospheric book about art and life and relationships and how art can like truly keep us alive. And I just think that's so lovely and such a wonderful thing to read at the end of the year when we're all kind of like tired and worn out from the last 12 months, and really we're worn out from like the last 2 years. I'm certainly worn out. So I think this is like a nice escape book for that. I told you I'd be pushing it with these, but it is fun, isn't it? The next one is the little family emoji, because the holidays are about family time. For this, I picked Hercule Poirot's Christmas by Agatha Christie. It is Agatha Christie, so you know it'll be a good read. You know it's going to be a great mystery. I picked it for the family emoji because it is about a family reunion. The patriarch of the family basically demands that all 4 of their sons and their wives come to his house for Christmas, but instead of having like a really fun family gathering, he tells them all they're terrible people and then removes their allowances. Somebody dies after the fact, and Poirot shows up to solve the case. It is Christmassy, but like, again, it's not like a wholesome Christmas book. It's gonna be like a fun little murder mystery for you to read by the fire. Something that's distracting and engrossing and well written and not super long. So it's not like a beefy boy for the holiday time. So that's what I picked for the family emoji, because what's Christmas time without some family fighting? Anyway, the next emoji that we have is the church emoji, because you do that around Christmas time if you are religious. I picked for this one Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett. This book is so good. So this is a historical fiction. This is a big boy. This is a beefy book. And it is about a monk who is driven to build the greatest Gothic cathedral that the world has ever known. So it's about building a church, which is why I picked it for the church. So it's basically Ken Follett following the life of this monk, the life of the village where this church is going to be built. We have a bunch of characters who we grow to really love. It's super incredibly detailed. It's very well written. I remember it being a pretty easy read for a historical fiction. It doesn't feel like it's all thys and thous and big words. Like, it's an accessible historical fiction, which I really love. I think Ken Follett is really great at showing suspense, even in something that feels like as menial as building a church. Like, this book is not boring in any way, shape, or form. Think about how Queen's Gambit made chess interesting to watch. Like, this book makes the building of a church interesting to read about. I just think it's a fantastic book. It's one of my mom's favorite books. It's just lovely. So, like, you won't be disappointed if you read this one. So, the next emoji we have is the snowman. And I picked the book The Snowman by Jo Nesbø, which is about a serial killer. Can you tell I had fun with this list? I had so much fun. The premise of the book is that we're in November, the first snow of the season has fallen, and a little boy wakes up and his mother's gone. And out the window in the middle of the night, he sees a snowman that's appeared with his mother's pink scarf around its neck. So it's the investigator Harry Hole who gets a menacing letter and links it to Jonas's mother's disappearance, as well as a bunch of other women who have all disappeared at the same time. Look, if you like serial killer books, I've already sold it to you. This one's fun, it's creepy, it involves creepy snowmen, and it basically puts all of the fun, like, wintry stuff into a really harsh light. It's evil, it's suspenseful, it's creepy, it's a fun mystery. Our final Christmas emoji pick, that is for the snowflake. And I picked Whiteout, also by Ken Follett, because I love his books. This is a great thriller. It's not scary, it's just suspenseful, and it is set on Christmas Eve during a blizzard. So, super cozy, wintry story. It's about, like, a family gathering, kind of, that turns into a race against time. There's also, like, a missing virus out of a lab. The security director of the lab where it went missing has to, like, find them. That's literally her job. And then it all shows up in the middle of a blizzard in this, like, farmhouse. and things get wild. Again, Ken Follett's characters are really full and lush and beautiful, and he is really, really, really good at getting like your heart rate up, like your adrenaline up while you're reading a book. Those are my recommendations related to Christmas emojis. I hope you had fun with this. I know it's kind of silly and not Christmassy at all, so sorry, but all of these books are really good and you'll like all of them, so you should go and check them out. Let me know if you have Christmas related books, because I'd love to actually read more Christmas related books. Hit that little like button if you enjoyed this video, and maybe subscribe if you are looking for more fun book related content. I can't wait to see you guys next time.